My name's Miss Braddock, as you guys know, and today we're going to be drawing a story mountain for the story that you've been reading for a few weeks now called Trouble at the Sandbox. And basically this story mountain is going to help you retell the story to somebody that hasn't read it yet. Story mountain is going to look exactly like it sounds, like a mountain. It's going to start low, get high, and then go back down again. This is going to be my story mountain. You guys have some paper on your desk. I don't want you to do anything with it yet. I'm going to help you build your story mountain after I give you an example. So for now, you guys are going to help me build my story mountain, and then we'll build yours together. So story mountain looks like this. Looks like a nice mountain. And in the beginning, we meet our characters. And in our book, our characters are Theo, Josh, and Izzy. I'm going to draw some lines because I know that's what your story mountain looks like. So you guys already have some lines on your paper. You're going to draw your mountain through your lines just like mine is, but not yet. So in the beginning, we're going to meet our characters, and their names are Theo, Josh, and Izzy. And in a story mountain, in the beginning you meet your characters, and you find out what the problem is. When you hear of a problem, sometimes you say, uh-oh. So we're going to call that the uh-oh. And I'm going to put an exclamation point, because uh-ohs are not good. You might just say, uh-oh. As the mountain goes up, the problem gets worse. It's getting worse as it goes up. So we're going to call that the big uh-oh. And I'm going to give it 2 exclamation points, because stuff's getting really bad now. So this is the problem. We're going up. Our problem is getting worse. And then at the top, we call this the climax, which is the tippy top of our mountain. And this is where things start to get a little better. This is the high point, where our characters are going to start to solve their problem. And then we're going to call this part, as we go down, the phew. I'm going to put an exclamation point there too, because I am so relieved, and I know you guys know what that means because it was one of our vocabulary words. I'm so relieved that I am solving my problems. Problems are solved, and we're going to find out what happens to our characters at the end. Phew! So first we start with uh-oh, and then uh-oh, climax, and phew, everything is solved. So if I were going to retell, I don't want you to touch your pencils yet. If I were going to retell the story of Trouble at the Sandbox, I want you guys to listen closely because you're going to do this in just a few minutes. I would start by introducing Theo, Josh, and Izzy, and I would start like I would tell a story. So I would say first or in the beginning. And I put these at the bottom of your paper too, and you can just pick one. You don't have to, you're not going to use them both, but I gave you a choice. You can pick one that you want to start your retelling of the story with. So I would say first, Theo, Josh, and Izzy were playing in the sandbox. Big kids came and stole their trucks. So I would write that all on my line. First, Theo, Josh, and Izzy were playing in the sandbox. That tells me who my characters are, what's going on, where my setting is. It's in the sandbox. And it tells me what my uh-oh is. Uh-oh, big kids stole my trucks. So we're going to start there. Next, we're going to think about how does their problem get worse. It gets worse because they don't get their trucks back. They do. They get them back the next day. And then there's an even bigger Uh-oh, don't tell me. Uh-oh, the big boys come again and they steal the trucks. And a lot of stuff happens in the story here, but I just want to do a quick retell. I want to tell you just the most important parts of the story. So, uh-oh, the big boys came and did it again the next day. Now the problem is really bad. Now we're at a big uh-oh. So that I would start that with a next or a then. Then, this same thing happened the next day. The big kids came and stole their trucks again. So I would write that all on my lines. Then I would get to the top of my mountain, my climax, because things are about to get better. This is my high point, where my problem is solved. And the problem is solved when the teachers help talk to the big boys, and the big boys bring the trucks back. So problem is solved. The teachers helped Theo, Josh, and Izzy get their trucks back. Phew! Now they can play in the sandbox. Problem is over. But I want to tie up all my loose ends. The people listening to this story that haven't heard it before, they want to know what happens to Theo, Josh, and Izzy, and what happens to the big kids. Do they get in trouble? Do Theo, Josh, and Izzy build the best sandcastle ever? What happens? Well, what happens in the end of this story